Hi, my name is Ashlynn, and this is my story about processing emotion in a healthy way. When I was 12 years old, I lost my dad to cancer. It was a huge loss in my life, and I felt this deep sense of sorrow, and it seemed like everything around me constantly reminded me of my dad. It made me miss him so much and the way that my family used to be. But a couple months after my dad passed, I was still feeling so sad inside. I was still crying almost every single day, and I felt like this cloud of sorrow and grief was never going to leave, that I was always going to be sad forever. I talked to my mom one day and I told her that I was still crying every day and I felt like this was never going to change. I was always going to feel like this. She said something really wise. She said that it was okay that I was crying every day. She said that it was okay that I still missed my dad. But she said that over time, my grief would change. I wasn't always going to feel the way I felt back then. What she recommended was recording on a calendar the days that I cried. So she got me a calendar, and each day I put a little blue dot on the calendar if I had cried that day because I missed my dad. And for the first month or so, all the calendar did was confirm what I already know, that I was crying essentially every day about my dad and how much I missed him and the hole he left in my family. But a month later, I noticed that it was only 6 days a week that I was crying. And then a month later, 5 days a week, and 4, and so on. And it was so encouraging to be able to visually see my grief changing over time, that I wasn't always going to be in this place of deep grief. What I think my mom did that was so wise was she never said that my crying was bad. It was healthy for me to feel those emotions and to be in that time of grief, but to know that that wasn't going to last forever. That wasn't going to be who I always would be. My grief did change and it did grow. And even today, I still miss my dad a lot. There are so many times when I think of him, I'll be walking down the street and see a man who looked like he did, and it'll remind me of my dad. And it's okay for me to feel sad and to cry, but my grief didn't stay the same. So I'm grateful that I took the time to be able to grieve and to cry and to miss him deeply, but it didn't have to stay the same way. I know that throughout that time of grief, God was with me and He was helping me process those emotions. I know that God knew how much I loved my dad and how much I still love my dad and miss him deeply. And so it's okay for me to feel sad. But over time, I can grow, and God led me through that place of grief to a place that I am in now.